costliest badminton racket. Hello friends and welcome to Shuttles Top and to an exciting new video on badminton. And today we are going to talk about a badminton racket which is probably the costliest badminton racket from Hndrd yet. And the racket we have with us today is the Hndrd Battle 900. So we're going to review, test and share a mild comparison of this racket with its competition and the brand leaders. But the most important thing that drew my attention and forced me to test this racket was its price. So you get a professional racket, top of the line, flagship from Hndrd, used by the European champion 2025, and the cost of the racket is only $150 where most of us know that badminton rackets from brand leaders or its competition can be found at around $250 but I'll be sharing my experiences if the performance matches the price and how it fares out with the brand leaders and its competition. Many of you would know that Hndrd has been in the market for a few years, and recently they've struck a 5-year collaborative deal with a top Danish player, Li-Ning, who's also the European champion 2025. So initially she was using the Battle 800, but now she's using this very racket, the Battle 900. And also KITBAG, former world #1 from India, is also a part of the Hndrd family and is using the Hndrd equipment. Most importantly, Hndrd is now available in US and UK, and Battle 900 can be purchased in US on their Hndrd US website or on Joy Badminton. And for India, you can go on to their Indian website and use my coupon code PAVANSS for additional discount. The frame and shaft are made of high quality ultralight carbon fiber, and the shape of the head is Hndrd's Curve 2, which is called as isometric in UNISEX and dynamic optimum frame in Li-Ning. But the size of the head is comparatively smaller when we compared it with its competitors and brand leaders, which means that you get a reduced sweet spot and a reduced play area, but which also means that when you hit from the sweet spot, you get slightly more power because you get more focus. So the flexibility of the shaft is flexible and the thickness of the shaft is 6.5 millimeters. It's a slim shaft. Category is 4U G6, where G6 is the grip. Balance point is 300 millimeters towards the head, truly head heavy. Length of the racket is approximately 675 millimeters, and you get 34 lbs of maximum string tension on this racket. So before we move on to the performance of the racket, let us see the cosmetic side of it. And I must say, the first look or the first impression is really impressive, especially the choice of colors, the combination of colors, the way the detailing has been done on the shaft and travels all the way to the frame and then back. And the quality of the material used and the overall finishing of the product is really premium and rich. And specifically when you run your fingers over the detailings on the shaft and the frame, you feel that embossing effect, which I personally like. So Hndrd have used their T-fuse technology in their T-joint, which means you get more stability in the to and fro motions with reduced wobbling and twisting. So Hndrd have used control foam technology in their frame, which provides increased shock absorption and more striking power. So the one thing that I always like about Hndrd is that they always mention the specifications and a configuration on the racket, spreading it over the frame, shaft and control cap, making it easier for you to decide if this racket belongs to your game or not. So if we talk about the control cap, this flattish area on the control cap is something I always like because it gives you a good grip, a good hold for the snaps, and also provides more accuracy and control when you are doing the low backhand services. So balance and control are the most integral things that come to your mind when we talk about net play, because the movement close to the net is limited as compared to the high lifts from the back of the court, where we can judge if the racket is head heavy or not, or those high speed, high swing motions where we can judge if the shaft is flexible or not. While testing the racket at the net, I found that the backhand pushes and tosses were more accurate, impressive and interactive as compared to the forehand tosses and pushes. So even though the shaft is a slim flexible shaft at 6.5 millimeters, it played like a mid-flex shaft rather than a flexible shaft. But my experience says that more focus is on the grip, string and the string tension comparatively when we are at the net. And the overall performance of the racket at the net was decent, somewhere between good and very good. So when we talk about the performance of the racket in the center of the court, the first few things that come to our mind are defense, drives, backhand, forehand snaps. While testing the racket in the center of the court, while playing the backhand snaps and the forehand snaps, I found the performance was decently impressive, and I was able to hit almost all the marks and corners. So while testing the racket for defense, I was able to defend almost all the shots and was able to play and return almost all the drives as well. And even after getting habitual to the racket, I could feel there was a comparative swing when switching between the backhand and the forehand. And the probable reason could be the overall weight of the racket, which is around 89 or 90 grams. And I use rackets which are around 85 or 86 grams. However, regardless of the kind of rackets I use, I still feel that the overall weight of the racket is more towards the 3U mark. So the overall performance in the center of the court was decent, but not what I felt at the net. So testing the racket for power from the third line or the back of the court while playing the clears and the smashes, this was the section where I felt the racket was the most impressive. And during my testing, I could feel that this soft, flexible, slim shaft at 6.5 millimeters was actually helping in creating a good lever system, which in turn was actually helping me create more power in any of the shots I was playing from the back of the court, may it be smashes, clears or tosses. So while testing the racket for power, it was the backhand clear and the overhead clear that impressed me the most, where I had to put in lesser effort to generate more power with great sound. So talking about the overall performance of the racket has been really impressive, and it is the cosmetic front and the power performance where it has impressed me the most, and this is where it comes closest to its competitors and the brand leaders. And with this racket, Hndrd is trying to enter the professional international circuit of brand leaders and competitors, where we know that this racket is already being used by the European champion and some other international players. Having said that, the performance of the racket in other parts of the court was not as impressive as the power performance. So if I talk about how it fares out with the brand leaders and its competitor, I feel that there are some improvements that need to be made. However, full marks for the effort. So if I had to consider a professional racket according to my game, considering the price factor in mind, then definitely this is the racket I would like to choose and recommend to be tested. But if I was to consider a professional racket according to my game and overall performance, I would put this racket on hold for a while. So if you are a professional player and looking for a professional racket but are tight on budget, then this is the racket at $150 that you can surely test. And not only that, even if you are an intermediate or an intermediate plus player who's planning to buy a professional racket to enhance their skills, this racket can be your choice. So this was my experience, and I'm sure that you'll have your own experiences, whatever they are, write in the comment section. And until then, stay safe, stay healthy, watch healthy videos, and have a great day.